Hi lovelies, welcome back to Vintage Mike Tales. Thank you so much for being here. This story is a heartfelt journey of love, loss and second chances. A gentle reminder that healing often comes from the most unexpected places. I truly appreciate your love and support. So sit back, relax and let your heart feel every word. Justin Davis, a successful businessman in Australia, had built a life of luxury and respect. A life filled with skyscrapers, boardrooms and high-stakes deals. Yet none of it mattered as he boarded the plane back to Dallas. Called home by grief he couldn't ignore, the morning air in Dallas was heavy with silence. The kind that pressed against the chest and made breathing feel like work. Black umbrellas lined the church steps as the gray sky threatened to cry with them. Justin stood still beside the hearse, staring at the polished mahogany casket that held his brother, his best friend, his compass. His throat tightened as the pastor's voice broke through the hush, offering comfort that felt like salt to an open wound. Andrew Davis was a man of faith, family and love, and though his time was short, he lived a full life. Justin's hands clenched at his sides. Full life, the words echoed bitterly. Andrew was only 37. He was supposed to grow old beside the woman who now stood on the other side of the casket, her two daughters clinging to her black dress like roots refusing to let go. Pamela Davis. He hadn't seen her in almost 7 years. And yet there she was, exactly as he remembered, but more fragile, more luminous in her grief. Her smooth caramel-brown skin glistened with tears she tried to hide, her deep almond eyes swollen but resolute. Even grief couldn't dull the quiet strength she carried. Justin's gaze caught hers for a fleeting second. She gave a polite nod, lips trembling before looking away. He looked down again, guilt stabbing through him for even noticing her beauty today of all days. After the burial, the house was filled with the hum of condolences. People spoke softly like they feared disturbing the dead. The scent of coffee and roses filled the Davis family home, a place Justin hadn't stepped into in a decade. He moved through the rooms, shaking hands, hugging faces he barely remembered. But his eyes searched for one person, always coming back to her. Pamela stood near the fireplace, trying to smile as people offered sympathy. Her youngest daughter clung to her arm, thumb in her mouth. The older one sat quietly on the couch, holding a framed picture of Andrew. Justin's chest tightened. He walked over slowly. Pamela turned, her eyes softening at the sound of his voice. Justin stepped forward, voice tight with emotion. I can't believe he's gone. Andrew was my compass and my family. I should have been here sooner. Pamela's eyes glistened. He always knew how much you cared. Even when you were off building your life in Australia, he said you'd always be his brother, his anchor. Justin managed a weak smile. Guess I needed a reason big enough. For the first time that day, she laughed, a soft, brief sound that cracked something inside him. You still have that same lost look, she teased faintly. Like you're pretending you're fine when you're not. He swallowed hard. Guess I'm still a bad liar. Guess so, she whispered, her eyes glistening again before she turned to comfort her daughter. As the guests began to leave, the sun dipped low, painting the windows in fading gold. Pamela stood by the door, thanking each person with grace. When the last one left, the house felt empty, too big, too quiet. Justin lingered in the living room, holding Andrew's watch in his hand. Pamela walked back in, exhaustion visible in every movement. You should rest, Justin. It's been a long day. I can't, he admitted. I keep expecting him to walk through that door, you know. Crack that stupid joke about my hair or tell me I'm overdressed. Pamela smiled sadly. He used to tease you so much. Said you were the corporate brother with no time for Texas dust. Justin chuckled softly. Yeah, and now the dust feels like home again. Silence fell between them, filled only by the soft ticking of a wall clock. Pamela wrapped her arms around herself, looking out the window. He always talked about you, said he missed you every day. I missed him too, Justin whispered. More than I ever said. Her lips trembled. You two had that bond. I used to be jealous of it sometimes. You never needed words to understand each other. He glanced at her, heart aching. He was the best part of me. She nodded, tears spilling freely now. He was the best part of all of us. Justin stepped forward instinctively and handed her a tissue. Their fingers brushed, warm, familiar, wrong. She quickly pulled back, murmuring a quiet thank you. Later that night, after she tucked her daughters into bed, Pamela found Justin sitting alone on the back porch, a half-empty bottle of whiskey beside him. The night air was cool, the stars dimmed by clouds. "Mind if I join you?" she asked softly. He turned, surprised. Of course not. She sat beside him, hugging her shawl tighter. "I can't sleep either," he nodded. "I keep hearing his laugh in my head, the way he used to make everything sound simple." Pamela stared at the dark yard. "He made me believe in forever, and now forever feels too short." Justin looked at her, the vulnerability in her voice tearing him apart. "Pamela," she turned, eyes shining under the porch light. He wanted to say something, anything, but his throat closed. Instead, he reached out and gently touched her hand. For a heartbeat, she didn't move. Then she exhaled shakily and pulled her hand away. "Don't," she whispered. "Not tonight." He nodded, shame flooding his chest. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean, I know." She forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You're grieving too." "We both are." She stood slowly. "Good night, Justin." "Good night, Pamela." As she disappeared inside, he whispered to the night, "God, what am I doing?" The following days blurred into quiet routines. Visitors, casseroles, sympathy cards. Justin stayed, insisting on helping around the house, helping the girls with their schoolwork. Mowing the lawn Andrew used to care for. Pamela didn't protest. She couldn't. His presence filled the empty spaces her husband left behind. Days turned to weeks and weeks into months. One afternoon, she found him fixing the loose handle on the kitchen cabinet. "You don't have to do that," she said. He smiled without looking up. "I know, but I want to." She leaned against the counter, watching him work. The light from the window caught the faint stubble on his jaw, the curve of focus on his face. Her heart skipped, and she hated that it did. "You're still the same perfectionist," she murmured. He looked up with a grin. "And you're still the same bossy woman who used to scare the hell out of me." Pamela laughed softly, shaking her head. "You were such a shy boy back then, was I?" He stood, facing her fully now. "I remember thinking you were the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen." "Still do." The air shifted instantly. Her smile faded, replaced by something raw. "Justin," she began, voice breaking. "Please don't say things like that." He stepped back slightly, realizing the edge in her tone. "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." She turned away, her voice trembling. "You can't look at me like that. I was your brother's wife." He froze, her words slicing deep. "I'd never try to replace him, Pamela. I just can't stop feeling what I feel." She faced him then, tears spilling. Don't ruin this. Don't ruin what's left of my peace." He nodded, voice barely above a whisper. "Okay," but when she walked away, he knew it wasn't okay, because the ache in his chest wouldn't fade. That night, Justin drove to the cemetery alone. The grass was still damp from earlier rain, and the moon hung low and bright above the marble headstones. He knelt before Andrew's grave, the cold seeping through his jeans, his heart trembling in his chest. He brushed away a few fallen leaves and stared at the name etched in stone. Andrew Thomas Davis, beloved husband, father, brother. "Hey, brother," he said quietly. "It's me." His voice cracked. "You'd probably laugh if you saw me now, back in Dallas, trying to keep your girls smiling." He swallowed hard, eyes burning. "I know you'd hate what I'm about to say, but I need to say it anyway." He looked up at the sky, tears falling freely. "I love her, Andrew. I love Pamela. I don't know when it started, maybe always. I swear I never meant for it to happen. But she's everything you said she was. Strong, beautiful, brave, and I can't watch her fall apart alone. I want to be there for her. I want to love her the way you'd want her loved." He paused, his voice breaking completely. "If you're up there, give me a sign. Give me permission to love her without shame." The wind picked up softly, rustling the trees around him. A faint warmth brushed his cheek, like a whisper of peace. Justin closed his eyes, pressing his palm against the stone. "Thank you, brother," he whispered. "I'll never betray you. I'll protect her, always." When he returned home, the house was dark. Pamela's light was still on upstairs. He stood at the base of the staircase for a moment, listening to the faint hum of her voice reading bedtime stories to her daughters. Her tone was soft, tired, full of love. He smiled faintly. "That's the woman I'll fight for," he thought, "even if it breaks me." And as the house finally fell quiet, Justin walked to his room, lay awake, staring at the ceiling, and whispered into the darkness, "I came back to bury my brother, but maybe I came home to find my heart." The morning sun crept through the curtains, spilling soft light across Pamela's kitchen. The house had slowly settled into a rhythm again. Breakfasts with the girls, soft laughter, the sound of dishes clinking instead of muffled sobs. But something else had changed too. Justin was still there. He'd stayed longer than anyone expected, claiming he needed time to handle family affairs. Though Pamela suspected there was more to it, he fixed what was broken, helped with the girls' school drop-offs, even coached the soccer team Andrew once cheered from the sidelines. He wasn't just a visitor anymore. He was part of the air they breathed. Pamela poured coffee into 2 mugs and slid one across the counter toward him. "You're still here," she teased gently. He looked up from the morning paper, smiling. "Would you rather I left?" She hesitated, lips curving slightly. "I didn't say that." He leaned back, studying her face. "Then I guess I'll take that as a reason to stay a little longer." Pamela rolled her eyes, but her heart fluttered despite herself. "You're impossible." Justin's grin softened. "You used to say that when I was 15 and wouldn't stop following Andrew around." "Yeah," she said, sipping her coffee. "Except now you're the one following me." Their eyes met for a long, charged moment before she quickly looked away. Later that afternoon, the girls played in the yard while Pamela and Justin repaired the old garden fence together. She handed him a nail as he crouched down, shirt sleeves rolled up, sweat glistening faintly across his tanned arms. Pamela tried not to stare, but her pulse betrayed her. "You know," she said, trying to sound casual, "you don't have to do all this. I can manage." He smirked, hammering a nail into the wood. "I know you can, but I'm not doing this because you can't. I'm doing it because I want to." Pamela looked at him, brows knitting. "Why?" Justin paused, turning the hammer in his hand. "Because it makes me feel close to him. And because—" He looked at her then, eyes steady. "Because being here with you feels right." She froze, her throat tightening. "Justin—" "Pamela," he interrupted softly, standing now. "I know what you're going to say. That it's wrong. That you're his wife. But you're also you, and I can't pretend I don't see you anymore." Her voice trembled. "You can't do this. You can't feel this way." He took a slow breath, stepping closer. "Maybe I can't help it." The silence between them stretched, heavy with all the words neither dared to speak. Pamela shook her head, eyes glistening. "You're confusing grief for love." "No," he whispered. "Grief fades. This doesn't." Her breath hitched. "Justin, stop." He smiled faintly, heartbreak in his eyes. "I'll stop when you ask me to stop meaning it." Pamela turned away, blinking back tears. "What would my children even call you?" she whispered. "Their uncle. Their dad?" He swallowed hard. "They can call me whatever you teach them to. Because I'd never try to replace their father, Pamela. I just want to love them as if they were mine." Her tears finally fell. "You have to stop saying things like that," she murmured, her voice trembling. "You make it harder to breathe." He stepped back, his chest rising and falling. "Then I'll hold my breath until you can." Pamela stared at him, stunned into silence before walking away. That night the rain came quietly. The street shimmered under the soft glow of streetlights. Justin couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Pamela's face, her tears, her strength, her walls. So he drove to the cemetery again. The grass was slick and cold beneath his knees as he knelt before Andrew's grave. "Hey, brother," he whispered, voice breaking. "It's me again. Guess I'm making a habit of this." He ran a trembling hand across the wet stone. "I know this is wrong by the world's standards, but you always said love isn't about rules, it's about truth. And the truth is, she's the only thing that makes sense in this mess." His tears mixed with the rain. "I don't want to hurt her. I just want to keep her safe. I want to make her smile again. I swear to you, if she ever lets me, I'll spend the rest of my life making her happy." He bowed his head, voice raw. "I hope you understand, Andy. I hope you'd want her to find peace, even if it's with me." The wind stirred softly, brushing through the trees like a sigh. Justin looked up at the sky, whispering, "That's enough of a yes for me." The next morning, Pamela found him sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee, eyes tired but calm. "You were out late," she said, her tone curious but gentle. "I was talking to your husband," he replied softly. Pamela's hand stilled midair. "What?" I went to his grave, he said, looking down. Told him how I felt about you. Her breath caught. Justin. He looked up, meeting her gaze. I told him I love you. She closed her eyes, tears threatening. Don't say that. It's the truth, he said simply. Her voice trembled. You can't love me. You shouldn't. He rose slowly from the table, taking a careful step toward her. Then tell me why. Tell me what you're really afraid of. Pamela hesitated, tears slipping free. I'm afraid you'll leave me too, she whispered. That one day I'll look beside me and you'll be gone. I'm afraid the world will look at me and see a woman who betrayed her husband's memory. I'm afraid to love again, because love has only ever taken from me. Justin reached for her hand but didn't force it. Then let me show you that love can give too. Pamela pulled her hand back, voice trembling. You don't know what people will say. What my daughters will think, he nodded. Maybe I don't, but I know what I feel. And I'd rather be hated for loving you than empty for the rest of my life pretending I don't. Her lips parted. A sob caught in her throat. She turned away before he could see her crumble. Later that afternoon, Pamela's best friend, Marcia, stopped by. A vibrant woman with sharp eyes and an even sharper tongue. She wasted no time getting to the point. Pam, she said, arms crossed, people are starting to talk. Pamela stiffened. About what? About you and Justin, Marcia said bluntly. They've seen him around. You two look close. Pamela's face burned. We're family. He's helping out. Marcia sighed. I know grief can make people reach for comfort in strange places. But this isn't comfort, Pam. This is dangerous. Pamela looked away, tears threatening again. You think I don't know that? Then end it before it starts, Marcia urged. Before people start calling you names you don't deserve. Pamela's voice cracked. I'm not with him, Marcia. I'm just trying to breathe again. Marcia softened, touching her arm. I just don't want you to get hurt, honey. Pamela nodded, forcing a smile. I know. But when Marcia left, Pamela sat alone at the kitchen table, staring out the window at Justin, helping her daughters build a small kite in the yard. His laughter floated through the glass, rich, steady, real. Her heart twisted painfully. Why do you make it so hard to hate you? She whispered. That night, the sky glowed soft with sunset. Pamela sat by her bedroom window, watching the light fade. A knock came at her door. Come in, she said quietly. Justin stood there, hands in his pockets, hesitant. Did I do something wrong? Pamela blinked. Why would you think that? You've been avoiding me all day. She sighed, looking down. People are talking, Justin. About us, he nodded slowly. Let them talk. Her eyes flashed up. It's not that simple. Yes, it is, he said gently, stepping closer. Because I know what's real. I know the way you look at me when you think I'm not watching. I know how your voice softens when you say my name. Pamela shook her head, tears pooling. You're making this harder. I'm making it honest, he said. Her hands trembled. What will happen if I let you in? He smiled softly, voice barely above a whisper. Then you'll never have to face a single storm alone again. Pamela's tears spilled over. You're not giving up, are you? Not in this lifetime. She turned away, but her heart thudded loud enough for both of them to hear. Outside, thunder rolled in the distance, soft and far. Inside, the space between them pulsed with a love neither could name yet, but both could feel burning quietly, waiting to be born. Spring came to Dallas like a shy guest, soft winds, green lawns, and sunlight that felt almost too gentle after months of gray. The Davis home was lighter now. Laughter returned in cautious waves. Justin still hadn't left. He had become part of the rhythm. Mornings of coffee and school drop-offs, evenings of homework and home-cooked dinners. He mowed the lawn, built the girls a tree swing, and smiled whenever Pamela scolded him for getting grease on his shirts. The world outside whispered, but inside their little world began to heal. Pamela knew what people were saying. She saw the looks when they went grocery shopping together, the way whispers trailed behind her at church. Still, she tried to ignore them. But peace is never permanent, not when hearts are learning to love again. It happened on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Pamela was at the flower shop she managed downtown, trimming stems behind the counter, when the doorbell chimed sharply. Ashley Miller, tall, blonde, impeccably put together. She had gone on a brief blind date with Justin months ago in Australia, and now she was in Dallas searching for him. Ashley walked in with eyes sharp as glass. So it's true. Pamela frowned. Excuse me? You and Justin? Pamela's heart stuttered. I don't know what you mean. Ashley stepped closer, voice trembling with anger. You stole him from me after everything we went through. I thought he was mine, and now you're here acting like nothing matters, like you could just take him. How could you? He's your dead husband's brother. The words hit like stones. Customers turned. Pamela's breath caught in her throat, face burning. I didn't steal anyone, she said quietly. Ashley laughed bitterly. Oh, please. You think people don't see the way he looks at you? The way you cling to him like some tragic widow looking for her next savior. Pamela flinched. You need to leave. Ashley leaned in, voice dripping venom. You may have fooled him with your tears, but everyone knows what you are. Pamela's composure shattered. Enough! Her voice cracked through the air. Get out! The door slammed behind Ashley, leaving Pamela trembling, tears spilling freely now. Moments later, Justin burst in, chest heaving, rain still dripping from his jacket. Pamela, what happened? I saw Ashley storming off. Pamela turned away, wiping her face. It doesn't matter. It does, he said firmly, stepping closer. Tell me. She shook her head, her voice trembling. She called me names, said I stole you, said I was pathetic. Justin's jaw clenched. She had no right. She's right, Pamela whispered, cutting him off. He froze. What? I am pathetic, she said, voice shaking. I'm here trying to move on, trying to make peace, and instead, I'm falling for the one person I should never want. Do you have any idea how that feels? Justin's heart ached. Pamela, look at me! She didn't. Tears kept coming. Look at me, he said softly. When she finally did, he whispered. I went on one date with Ashley before I came back to the US. It was nothing. We didn't click. I never called her again. You didn't steal me from anyone, because I was never hers to begin with. Pamela closed her eyes, shaking her head. I can't do this, Justin. I can't be the woman people whisper about. Then let them whisper, he said firmly. I'll face every word for you. Pamela's eyes glistened as she turned away from him. Justin, please, go find someone else. Someone younger, someone free. I'm your brother's widow. I'm pathetic. People are already mocking me. And what would my children call you? Justin stepped closer, his voice quiet but filled with emotion. I don't care what they say, Pam. And your girls? They'll call me whatever makes them feel loved. Because that's all I want to give them. To give you. She shook her head, tears falling. You deserve a woman who isn't broken. He reached out, brushing her cheek gently. You're not broken, Pamela. You're the strongest woman I know, and I don't want anyone else. I want the woman who stayed when life tried to destroy her. I want you. Her breath caught, her heart trembling between fear and longing. Why me, Justin? He smiled softly, his thumb tracing the curve of her jaw. Because when I look at you, I see everything I've ever needed. Love, strength, and home. I love you. Not because you're Andrew's wife, not because I feel sorry for you. I love you because you are everything I never thought I deserved. Pamela's tears fell harder now. Don't say that. He reached for her hand gently. Then tell me what you're afraid of. I'm afraid, she whispered, that I'll lose myself in you. That one day you'll leave, and I'll have to bury my heart all over again. He stepped closer, voice trembling. What if I promise not to go? Her breath caught. Don't make promises you can't keep. Then I'll show you instead, he murmured. Every day, in every way. Pamela's chest heaved. You make it sound so simple. Because love should be, he said, eyes glistening. Everything else complicates it. That night, Pamela didn't sleep. She walked out under the moonlight barefoot, her heart heavy. The cemetery wasn't far. The gate creaked softly as she pushed it open. Her breath came out in clouds as she approached Andrew's grave, clutching a single white lily. She knelt beside the headstone, brushing away the dew. Hey, love, she whispered, voice trembling. It's me, silence answered. She smiled faintly through her tears. I still talk to you, you know. Every night. I tell the girls stories about you. How you made pancakes too sweet. How you laughed too loud. Her voice broke. I thought I'd never feel again after you left. But now I'm falling for him, Andrew. For Justin. She sobbed quietly, her shoulders shaking. I hate it. I hate how wrong it feels. But I can't stop it. The wind rustled the leaves around her, and she closed her eyes. I'll never stop loving you. But he's teaching me how to live again. how to breathe again. And if that's wrong, please forgive me. She placed the lily against the stone, tears streaming freely. I just needed you to know. I'll always love you. But I think you'd want me to be happy again. As she rose, a gentle breeze brushed her cheek, warm and soft, almost like a hand. She smiled weakly, whispering, "Thank you." The next morning, she found Justin on the porch sipping coffee. His eyes lifted immediately when he saw her. "You okay?" he asked. Pamela nodded faintly, though her eyes were red. "I went to see Andrew last night." He froze. "You did?" "I told him about you," she whispered. Justin's heart pounded, and she met his gaze, tears brimming again. "And I think he understands." He set down the mug, standing slowly. "Pamela, I can't fight this anymore," she said, her voice breaking. "I've tried, God knows I've tried. But you're here every day, fixing, helping, loving in ways I didn't think were possible. You've been my strength when I had none left." He took a step closer. "So what are you saying?" "I'm saying," she whispered, "I don't want to run from you anymore." Justin's breath hitched. "You mean that?" She nodded, tears falling. "Yes, but please, Justin, be patient with me. I'm still healing." He smiled, eyes shining with quiet relief. "I'll wait a lifetime if I have to." She laughed softly through her tears. "You're too stubborn for your own good." He chuckled. "Runs in the family." Days passed in soft, stolen moments. Morning coffee shared on the porch. Gentle laughter while cooking dinner. The warmth of unspoken love filling every space between them. Justin's gestures were simple but powerful. A note in her daughter's lunchboxes that read, "You're brave like your mom." Fresh flowers left on the counter. A hand that never hesitated to reach for hers when she faltered. Pamela slowly began to smile again, the kind of smile that reached her eyes. Still, guilt lingered like a ghost, but love grew stronger than the shame. One night, rain pattered softly outside as Pamela sat reading on the couch. Justin walked in, hair slightly damp, holding 2 mugs of tea. "I thought you might want some," he said. She smiled faintly. "You always know what I need before I do." He sat beside her. "That's because I pay attention." Silence stretched between them, warm and full. Pamela turned to him, her voice soft. "I never thought I'd feel this again. But you've brought me back to life." Justin's eyes glistened. "You were never gone, Pamela. You were just waiting to be seen again." She set down her book, her hand trembling as she reached for his. "I'm scared," she whispered. "So am I," he admitted. "But I'd rather be scared with you than fearless without you." Her lips trembled, then curved into the faintest smile. "You always know what to say." He leaned closer, his voice a whisper. "Because everything I say to you comes from here." He pressed her hand against his chest, where his heart beat fast beneath her palm. Pamela's eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "Then don't stop." He smiled softly. "Never." And for the first time since Andrew's death, Pamela allowed herself to rest her head on another man's shoulder. Safe, warm and unashamed. Outside, thunder rolled softly across the sky, but inside there was peace. A fragile, beautiful peace that neither wanted to lose again. The sun dipped low over Dallas, bathing the neighborhood in a soft, honey-gold glow. It was the kind of evening that carried peace in its silence, birds settling, wind whispering through the oak trees, and laughter spilling faintly from the Davis backyard. Pamela stood at the kitchen window, wiping her hands on a towel, watching Justin push the girls on the swing he'd built. Their laughter rang out like music, each giggle a reminder of how far they had all come. She had stopped pretending that her heart didn't belong to him. She had stopped fighting the way he made her feel safe, cherished, alive. And now, watching him laugh with her daughters, their daughters really, she knew she could never imagine life without him. Justin caught her gaze through the window, smiling with that familiar warmth that melted every piece of her guarded soul. He mouthed, "Come join us." Pamela laughed softly, shaking her head. But when he exaggerated, a pleading look, the same boyish charm that reminded her so much of Andrew, she relented, stepping out barefoot into the soft grass. The girls squealed. "Mommy, Uncle Justin says we can have ice cream for dinner." Pamela raised an eyebrow, trying not to smile. "Oh, really?" Justin feigned innocence. "Hey, I was only supporting democratic parenting. They voted, I lost." Pamela laughed, really laughed for the first time in what felt like forever. "You're impossible." He grinned. "But you love it." Her smile faded just slightly, a hint of emotion clouding her eyes. "Yeah," she whispered, I think I do. The morning sky hung low over Dallas, quiet and grey. Justin stood in front of the mirror, buttoning his shirt slowly. His reflection stared back, not the confident businessman the world saw, but a man trembling with hope and nerves. On the nightstand sat a small velvet box, the ring. Simple, elegant, and perfect for her. Tonight, he would ask Pamela to be his wife. But before he could, there was one more thing he needed to do. He slipped the ring box into his pocket, grabbed his car keys, and drove through the sleepy streets toward the cemetery. The rain from the night before had left the air damp and fresh. The scent of wet grass filled his lungs as he walked between the headstones, stopping at the familiar one that had changed everything. Andrew Davis, beloved husband, father, brother. Justin's chest tightened as he crouched beside the grave, brushing away the fallen leaves. For a long moment he said nothing, just listened to the silence. Then softly he began, "Hey, brother." The words trembled out of him like an old memory. "It's been a while, huh?" He exhaled shakily, smiling faintly. "The girls are getting so big. You'd be proud, man. Emma's obsessed with soccer. She scored her first goal last week, and you should have seen her face. Total mini-you. And Grace. She's got your stubborn streak. She doesn't let anyone tell her what to do, not even me." A small laugh broke through his chest, but it faded quickly, replaced by quiet sorrow. "They miss you, Andrew. Every day. We all do, but they're healing. Pam's been incredible with them, strong like always, but I can see the loneliness behind her smile." He paused, fingers tracing the engraved name. "You always told me she was special. You weren't wrong. She's the kind of woman who holds everyone else together, even when she's breaking inside. And lately I can't imagine a day without her." The words caught in his throat. "I love her, Drew, I really do." He looked down, rain beginning to mist the air again. "I know it sounds crazy. I fought it for months. I tried to convince myself it was just grief, just trying to fill the void you left. But it's not. It's real. She makes me laugh again. She listens when I can't even find words. And the way she looks at me," he swallowed hard. "It's like she sees me the way you always did." A tear slid down his cheek and he wiped it roughly. "I'm not asking to replace you. No one ever could. I just want to honor you, to take care of what you loved most." He reached into his pocket and took out the small velvet box. It looked almost too delicate against the dark stone. "I'm going to ask her tonight," he whispered. "To be my wife, to let me be the man who stands beside her, not in your place. But because you'd want her to be loved again. You'd want your girls to grow up surrounded by laughter, not memories." The wind stirred gentle and cool. Leaves rustled softly around him, and the clouds shifted just enough for a sliver of light to fall across the grave. Justin smiled faintly through the blur of tears. "I like to think that's you giving me your blessing." "Thanks, brother, for everything." He stood there a while longer, the silence wrapping around him like a familiar hug. Not of loss this time, but peace. When he finally turned to leave, his heart felt lighter. That evening, the Davis home glowed with warmth. Pamela stood in the living room, setting the dinner table while the girls played in the corner, laughing over a board game. Justin watched from the doorway for a moment, silently memorizing the scene, the home he had found in them. He walked over, wrapping an arm gently around Pamela's waist. "You're quiet tonight," she said softly. He smiled, "Just thinking how lucky I am." She turned, meeting his gaze. "You're the one who brought the light back into this house, Justin. The girls adore you. She hesitated, emotion flickering in her eyes. "I don't even know how to thank you." "You already have," he whispered. Pamela frowned slightly, her hand brushing his arm. "You've been distant today. Is something wrong?" He took her hand gently, leading her toward the backyard. The evening air was soft, laced with the scent of jasmine drifting from the garden. The porch light glowed faintly, just enough to bathe them in a warm hue. Pamela tilted her head, puzzled. "What's going on, Justin?" He turned to face her, heart pounding. "This," he said softly, "is where I tell you what's been in my heart since the day I fell for you." Her eyes widened, shimmering in the golden light. "I never planned any of this," he continued, voice low and trembling. "I didn't expect to fall for you. Not after losing Andrew. Not after seeing you in pain. But love doesn't wait for permission, Pam. It just happens. Tears glistened in her eyes as she whispered, "Justin." He reached into his pocket, pulling out the velvet box. "I went to see him today," he said quietly. "I told him everything, about how much I love you, about how the girls are growing up so fast, about how proud he'd be of you. And then I told him what I'm about to tell you now." He knelt slowly, opening the box to reveal the simple, stunning diamond ring that sparkled under the porch lights. "Pamela Davis," he said, voice breaking, "you were my brother's greatest blessing, and now, somehow you've become mine. I promise I'll protect this family like it's the only thing that matters in this world. I'll love you like he would have wanted you to be loved, fiercely, faithfully forever. So will you marry me?" For a moment all she could do was stare, tears spilling down her face, her hands trembling over her heart. "Yes," she whispered. Then stronger through her tears, "Yes, Justin, I will." He rose, pulling her into his arms, the world spinning softly around them. The girls ran out moments later, squealing with joy when they saw the ring and their mother's tears. Justin laughed through his own tears, lifting both girls into his arms. "Guess what? We're going to be a real family now." They hugged him tight, their small voices shouting, "Yay!" Pamela smiled through her tears, whispering, "You already were." Their wedding came quietly. A year later, just close family, soft music, and sunlight filtering through white roses. Pamela wore a simple gown, her curls dancing around her shoulders, her eyes glowing with peace. Justin couldn't take his eyes off her as she walked down the aisle, holding her daughter's hands. When they exchanged vows, Justin's voice shook as he said, "You are my home, Pamela, and this love, it's my second chance at life." And Pamela, tears spilling down her cheeks, whispered back, "You were my healing, Justin, my miracle after the storm." A year later, the sound of soft baby cries filled the Davis home again. Pamela lay in bed, exhausted but smiling, as Justin cradled their newborn son. "He's perfect," she whispered, brushing the baby's tiny fingers. Justin's eyes softened. "He looks like you." Pamela smiled faintly. "What should we name him?" Justin looked down at the baby, his heart swelling. "Andrew," he whispered. Pamela's eyes glistened. "Yes, Andrew." Justin bent over, kissing her forehead tenderly. "He'll grow up knowing his uncle's love built the foundation of this home, and yours healed it." Pamela smiled, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I love you." "I love you more," Justin murmured, wrapping his family in his arms. And as the sun rose over Dallas, painting their home in gold, it felt as if somewhere beyond the clouds, Andrew was smiling too. Thank you, family, for listening. I hope this story touched your heart the way it touched mine. Love, loss, healing, they remind us that even after the deepest pain, hope still blooms. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more heartfelt tales. Until next time, keep believing in love and second chances. With a heart full of gratitude, Vintage Mike Tales